Do you believe that there is life after death? Paraphysician and writer Alexey Priyma was asked in an interview. "I don't believe in it," Alexey Konstantinovich answered, "because I know quite definitely and unequivocally that it exists." Famous physicist Alexey Priyma, who devoted his life to the study of the boundaries between the material world and the unknown, left behind studies that overturn the usual ideas about death and the afterlife. In his writings and diaries, Priyma described that human life does not end with the last breath, but only passes into a different form, as he put it, into a parallel plane. His findings have become even more relevant in recent years as cases of people who have experienced clinical death have gained public attention. According to Priyma, death is only a stage, and the soul continues its journey in another world, where the understanding of the meaning of existence is found. In the 90s of the last century, Alexey Priyma was the director of the Center for Research of Anomalous Contact Situations. At that time, together with his colleagues, he was engaged in experimental cognition on the instrumental and hypnotic levels of the reality into which the human essence falls after physical death. Alexey Priyma believed that death certainly exists, and not only for the physical body, but also for a part of the spiritual substance of man. What happens when a person leaves this life? According to the paraphysician, at the moment of a person's death, his bioenergetic double is separated from him. This is what we in our life call a ghost. In the next instant, a certain luminous astral body, which is egg-shaped, separates from the bioenergetic double as from a spacesuit. This body is the human soul. According to Alexey Priyma, it goes to the so-called parallel world through the exit hole, which is outside the Earth's atmosphere. The paraphysician describes the further destiny of the bioenergetic double, which during human life is his bioenergetic skeleton, and at the same time serves as a spacesuit for the human soul. After the physical death of a human being, his bioenergetic double, possessing residual elements of reason, loses its functional significance, gradually exhausts its resources, and disintegrates into the smallest particles of light. But the soul, unlike it, rushes out of this world into the world unknown to us. Alexey Priyma elaborates on the description of the soul. He shows an Egyptian drawing, which is 3,500 years old. In this picture you can see that the soul flies out of the person, explains the paraphysician. The bird of death picks it up and carries the soul to the next world. What does the soul look like in this drawing? It looks like a ring, which has some squiggle at the bottom. For comparison, Alexey Priyma shows a picture which his colleagues managed to make in 1992. This is exactly what the soul looks like, according to the paraphysician. In his book From Mystery to Mystery, Alexey Priyma gives many stories of people who survived clinical death. The paraphysician explains what people actually see at that moment and why they return to their body. Alexey Priyma believes that a person who has experienced clinical death does not really see that light. None of these people have been to the true other world. Figuratively speaking, a person only sees the river Styx, but does not cross it. In other words, a person can only see the entrance to another world, but not visit it. What is further, we do not know. We can only say that in another reality operate other laws, the manifestation of which is beyond our competence, says Alexey Priyma. In his book, Alexey Konstantinovich tells the story of a doctor who met the ghost of his dead mother in the garden. She informs her son that only her body has died, and she feels more alive now than she did then. During this meeting, the doctor asked his mother about the conditions in which she was living now. In response, he heard that it is forbidden for the dead to answer such questions, as they are idle. The author of the book explains that from the point of view of the leaders of that reality, a person does not need to know about what is happening in the other world. One can learn about it only after the end of earthly life. The survivors of clinical death are not supposed to know about it either, so they cannot see the other world either. They can see the entrance to this world, but not more than that. According to Alexey Priyma, each person should stay on the earth as long as it takes to fulfill his program, with which we come to this world. Some people who have experienced clinical death also tell about it. From above they are ordered to return to the earth, to live the time determined by them and to complete their program. If a person dies an unnatural death, for example, as a result of an accident, without having time to fulfill his program, according to Alexey Priyma's assumption, his soul should reincarnate and return to the earth in the nearest future. In this case, the soul is quickly reincarnated into a child, which is born at a relatively close distance from the place of the last birth. As this soul is prescribed to live its life where it lived before, and also to fulfill its program to the end. To prove his hypothesis, Alexey Priyma cites the research of Indian scientists, who over 50 years have collected several hundred reports of cases of transmigration of souls. Scientists note that in half of the recorded cases of reincarnation of souls, people left their past lives unnatural death. This hypothesis is also based on hypnosis sessions, which were conducted by Alexey Priyma and his colleagues. As is known, a person in a hypnotic state cannot lie. Talking to people in a hypnotic state, the paraphysician managed to find out that the human soul goes to the other world not forever. It participates in a mysterious process of multiple reincarnations. The souls return to Earth again and again, reincarnating in human bodies at the time of their birth.